Ah yes, 90s video games. The time when 2D transitioned into 3D and a whole new dimension of gaming was unveiled. Many of us hold a deep nostalgia for the titles we played during this decade, such as the Legend of Zelda series, Sonic the Hedgehog games, and Pokemon franchise. But there's one game most of us have played that is seemingly innocent in nature, but has sparked countless theories over the years, some of which that could be described as disturbing. If you've paid attention to the spooky side of the internet lately, you might have come across the idea that each playthrough of Super Mario 64 is personalized to the player. This means that everything from the sound, gameplay, and overall experience is different depending on who has the controller. But before we dive into this theory, we first have to take a look at how it all began. As stated earlier, Mario 64 is a goldmine for theory and speculation. From the infamous El is Real to parallel universes, this game has experienced its fair share of people digging into content that may or may not exist. However, on May 23rd, 2020, Twitter user MegaX2 uploaded this photo taken from a now deleted 4chan post. It outlines a multitude of various Mario 64 speculations over the years, with common ones towards the top and more obscure or unknown ones at the bottom. But a few of them caught everyone's attention, these being the Wario apparition, and the idea that each copy of Mario 64 is personalized. That same day, without warning, an anonymous 4chan user posted this statement to the site's video game boards. Every copy of Super Mario 64 is personalized. Nintendo's experimental AI adapts and subtly creates a slightly altered version of the game tailored specifically for you, appealing to you subconsciously in ways you don't even notice, as well as attempting to mess with you and study how you react to it. Have you ever played someone else's copy of Mario 64? Have you ever felt like something was just a little bit off? That's why. That's how. This is much more than just simple experimentation with procedural generation. However, there are many layers to this, and some of them are more sinister and malicious than others. Super Mario 64 is, at its core, an insidious and evil work of human creation. Expectedly, this sparked a ton of interest among viewers, and it seemed like the next creepypasta was born. But little did we know, this was only the beginning of a Mario-themed rabbit hole. Over the coming days, others elaborated on their encounter with this rumored phenomenon. People shared stories, screenshots, and even videos of their playthroughs. It seemed like everything shared from this iceberg was connecting to the idea that their own copy of this game was tailored specifically for them. However, even though each playthrough was apparently unique, they all shared one thing in common: an apparition of a giant Wario head. Here's what one user had to say about this. The Wario apparition was created from the subconscious wishes to see him in Mario 64, that the shared desire caused him to appear as a horrifying half-start in some copies of the game. That image is what it's supposed to look like, but those who encountered it in-game can't even describe what it looked like, as many suffered from memory loss and stroke-like symptoms. If you suspect you're seeing it in-game, it's suggested you shut the console off immediately because once you give it power by witnessing it, it gains power and begins manifesting itself in your reality. Of course, this all sounds a bit extreme, doesn't it? How could a cartridge video game have the power to change itself based on who is playing? The answer is, it doesn't. None of this is real, obviously, but I do have to say, it is a great modern creepypasta that brings back the nostalgia from the early creepypasta days, roughly 10 years ago. You see, the Wario apparition stems from a segment of Nintendo's 1996 E3 presentation titled Focused on Fun, and by doing what it does best, the internet decided to turn part of the segment into a horror story 2 decades later. But how the idea of a personalized Mario 64 game came to be is still unknown, although it is theorized that whoever originated this idea got the concept from our ability to misremember our past, kind of like the Mandela effect, but with video game moments. But whatever the case may be, creepypastas will always be one of my favorite topics on the internet, especially the ones that fall into the video game realm. So if you're interested in diving into more creepy internet lore, feel free to subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. But, as always, thank you for watching, and good night.